Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. For today we have a really fun project and it is actually using a stamp set from our new mini catalog. So our new mini catalog, which is kind of our holiday catalog that we've had in the past. So this is our mini August to December catalog. This launches in just over a week now. So I'm super excited and I wanted to bring you guys a project using one of my favorite stamp sets from this catalog. And I hope you guys really enjoy it. So before we get started and jump into the project, if you guys want one of these catalogs, completely free to you, please send me a message, send me an email, leave me a comment down below. However, I have like 8,000 different ways you can contact me. Please get in contact with me and let me know, and I'll send this out to you completely free. And if you've never received an annual catalog from me, I'll send that to you for free too. So if you're interested, let me know and I will get one sent right out to you. There's tons of good stuff in here. We've actually changed our catalog release schedule a little bit for the upcoming years. Right now we're kind of in this transition period, so it feels like our annual catalog just came out, and that's because it did not that long ago. But moving forward, we're going to have a really good kind of like release schedule with our catalogs, and I am just so excited, and this catalog is awesome. I normally don't love our holiday catalog, but for whatever reason, this one, I love the paper in it. I love some of the stamp sets. I love the Halloween stuff. I cannot wait to start getting into October so I can show you guys Halloween stuff. I'm just so excited. But for today's project, we're going to make this really cute card with literally one of my favorite stamp sets in this catalog. So we're going to make this really cute thank you card. It's adorable. I love it. And that's really all there is to say. I like the simplicity of it. So if you have this catalog, I really drew a lot of inspiration from the samples. I can't show you guys the inside of this catalog because it's not live yet, but I really drew a lot of inspiration from the couple of samples that they have that go along with the stamp set. So it's on page 68. If you have your catalog with you in hand, it's on page 68. And I drew a lot of inspiration from the images that are in the top left corner of that page. I kind of took my own spin on it and I kind of did my own thing with it, but that's kind of where I drew my inspiration from. So that's another thing. If you kind of sit and you're like, man, what should I do? I have this stamp set and I don't know what to do with it. Look in your catalog. Go on Pinterest. Obviously, my videos are there to help you guys. I've been trying, I should say, to post on Instagram a little bit more. All of those things are resources for you. Use them and help them get your creative juices flowing and help you create some new projects. So this one is super fun and super simple. So for what we need, we're going to be featuring, again, this stamp set that I love. This is the Press On stamp set. It's so cute. It's coffee themed. I love this image here with the 5 different coffee cups. It's my fave, and as you can see, we're going to be featuring that kind of today. It's adorable. I love it. For ink, we are going to be using 3 different ink pads. So we have our Stays On Jet Black ink, we have Calypso Coral, and then we're also using our Craft Whisper White ink pad, which I don't normally use, but I thought that this was a really good project for it. And if you look at those projects that I kind of drew my inspiration from in the catalog, one of them is like black ink on craft and then colored with white, and that's really kind of what got my brain turning to use the craft ink with our crumb cake cardstock. So the other ink that we're going to be using is our Stampin' Write marker. This is in Calypso Coral. Really all I'm going to be doing with this is coloring in the hearts on some of these coffee mugs. So you don't have to do that. It's definitely an optional step and it's not going to change the design too much. But I thought it was a cute little addition to the card that I really liked. Then for our paper, so starting off with our crumb cake. So we have a piece here that is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that's a different size from my normal like first card layer. That is the exact same size as what our card base is going to be when we fold it in half. So this card base is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and that's going to give us a really nice, flush, clean look here. So if you see, I don't have really like the look of a layer on this card. Now what you could do is you could stamp directly on your card base. I personally don't like doing that just in case I mess up or something doesn't look right to me. You can always trim this down if you feel like you wanted a border, if you wanted a different look. So I like stamping on a different piece of paper, but you could omit that and you could stamp directly on your card base. So I just wanted to call that out as another option. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be stamping on another piece and then I'm going to glue it onto my card base and it's going to look flush like I just did it on my card base. I'm just doing it a different way. Then the next couple of pieces that we have, so this is a piece of Night of Navy, and this is cut out 1 inch by 4 1/4. I have just a scrap of Whisper White, and this just is large enough to cut out our little coffee mug here. And then the other piece that I have is of our new Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper. So this is a new Designer Series paper collection from our mini catalog. Sorry, I forgot to mute my computer. This is from the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, which is a new collection with our new mini holiday catalog. So let's jump into how to create this project. Okay, so I want to start by stamping my sentiment onto my little piece of Night of Navy here. And the main reason I want to do that is because the craft ink takes a little bit longer to really set into the cardstock. So you can speed up that time by using your heat tool, which I probably will do, but it's also helpful to get some of your stamping out of the way first, as much as possible. So I'm going to take my little piece of Night of Navy here, and we're going to be using our Whisper White ink. We're also going to be using this sentiment here that says "A Cup of Thanks." So I'm just going to ink this up. One thing that I will say is when using our craft Whisper White ink, one thing that can help is to use your Stamparatus. And that's because the craft ink sometimes isn't super pigmented. And I kind of messed up a little bit here, so do better than I do. You know what? We're going to just flip this over and we're going to try this again. The Stamparatus can be really helpful because craft ink can be a little bit sheer. So you can see on the Night of Navy, it's not like a super, super bright, stark white. So using your Stamparatus can help because you can stamp a few times to get a really, really crisp image. Sorry, I'm grabbing a baby wipe so I can help kind of clean up my stamp a little bit before I stamp again. So you can do that. I actually, when I was designing this card, I did pull out my Stamparatus and then I opted to not use it just because I didn't feel like it was giving me a ton of benefit. So I'm not doing that, but I did want to mention it because it's definitely another option. If you're having a little bit of a hard time getting a crisp, clean image, you could use your Stamparatus to help with that a little bit. Because what happens is this looks really bright right now, but as it kind of dries and it absorbs into the cardstock, it's gonna fade a little bit. So there is that. Now for the really fun part. So we're going to keep our craft ink out and we're going to bring in our stamp that has these 5 little coffee mugs in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this randomly on our small piece of crumb cake. And really all I'm doing is I'm going to ink this up. Again, you could use your Stamparatus if you feel like you aren't getting a really crisp, clean image. I'm not going to use my Stamparatus, as you guys can see. But when I was designing this card, I did start to use it just to see if it helped me, and I just don't feel like I really got a ton of benefit out of it. So I'm not going to use it, but you absolutely could. So all I'm going to do is stamp this down in random places. Now you will also see, where'd my baby wipe go, that I'm not using a piece of background paper. You should. I should be using one, but I'm being a little bit of a rebel tonight, and I'm not doing that. I'm just stamping directly down, and because it's white ink, I'm not super concerned about it getting on my desk, and it wipes off really easily. So you could do it, you should do it. I'm just not because I'm being a rebel. So really all I'm paying attention to is every time I kind of stamp. So the way that I do this, and I'll explain this to you as I do this next row, is I decide, okay, here's my focal image. Where do I want that focal image to go? So if you look, so kind of right here in the middle is the heart mug. So I want this to be a little off-centered because I don't want it to line up perfectly, right? So I'm just going to stamp it a little off to the side, and then I'm going to fill in on either side of that to complete that row. And just like that. And then I'm just going to repeat that over and over and over again until I fill up this entire piece here. And it's really just kind of a game of determining where you want to put these. Do you want to put them close together? Do you want to put them a little further apart? Honestly, it doesn't really matter. You just want to kind of play around with it and see what works for you. You know, as I showed in my last video, I love making my own kind of background papers. And this is a really fun way to kind of do that in a very relaxed, I guess is the right word to use, relaxed way. Sorry, now my desk is all wet and my paper is warping a little bit. But this is a really easy way to do it in a relaxed way because you don't have to be super concerned about placement or anything, because it's really just kind of the background. The Whisper White kind of melts into the crumb cake, and it is a focal point, but it's not super obvious. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get it 100% the way that you want it to. So again, I just kind of decide where I want this first stamp to go. That looks like a good place to me. And then I fill in on the sides to get a complete row. And if you don't stamp it perfectly straight, like that one, that wasn't 100% straight, it's okay. I promise you're not even going to notice when it's done. So let's do another here. And here. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe I'll do just like the tops of the mugs. You can't even really see it. So I'll just do a couple tops just to pretend like there's some stuff there. There we go. Okay, so I'm now going to set this off to the side and let that dry for just a smidge. We're done with our Whisper White ink, so you can take this and you can put it away. We're done with it. So my surface is nice and clean because I was using my baby wipe to wipe all of that gunk off. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our little coffee mug. So I'm going to take my piece of Whisper White here, and I'm going to take my StazOn ink and my little coffee mug. And I'm going to ink this guy up in basic black. And I'm just going to stamp it right in the middle of my scrap of Whisper White. So there aren't dies that come with this stamp set, but that's okay. It's actually really easy to cut this little coffee mug out. I'm also going to bring in my piece of Designer Series paper. This is again my Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, and I'm going to stamp my little coffee mug in on the Designer Series paper as well. That is all I need my jet black ink for. While we are here, I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral, and I just realized I forgot to grab my little heart stamp. So we're going to grab that. We're going to put it on a little block, and I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral ink, and I'm going to stamp that right in the center of the little like band around the coffee mug. And then that's all we need our Calypso Coral ink pad for. Now I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to grab my little snips here, and I'm just going to cut these images out. So for my Whisper White, we want the entire coffee mug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to go up at a diagonal until I hit where the lid is, right? And then I'm going to snip that. I am not going to worry about trying to get around this edge here. I'm just going to cut it at a diagonal so that I capture everything. Then I'm going to cut into where this little top is. Really, really easy. That's why this one doesn't bother me too much to fussy cut, because I can cut it out where it's all just straight lines. I don't have to worry about like getting around curves or anything. It's all just straight lines and easy business. So I like it, and I do not mind cutting this out because I can do straight lines. So I'm just going to keep cutting. Oops. Just like so, and then cut the bottom just like that. So that's our little coffee mug. So I'm going to scooch that off to the side for just a second. And then for our piece of Designer Series paper, I just want this little inner bit here that's kind of like the band on the coffee mug. So you can see here, I just want this little piece. That's all I need. So this one's even easier. I'm going to cut it, and I cut it right in the middle of where my basic black is, so that, or I'm sorry, not basic black, my jet black ink, my StazOn, so that I know how to easily line this up. And that wasn't perfect, but that's okay. It's not really gonna matter. And that's all I need. So I'm not even gonna worry about anything else. I just need that one little inner bit. So now we're gonna take our Stampin' Seal, maybe. Again, if you're having issues, roll your Stampin' Seal so you get your adhesive where it needs to be. I'm gonna put a little tiny bit there, and then I'm gonna line this up just like that in the middle of my coffee mug. Super easy, super cute. Scooch that guy off to the side. We are almost done, you guys, I promise. So we're gonna take our piece here of crumb cake, and by now it should be relatively dry. I would still be careful to not be super aggressive and touching it. Oops, see? I'm a mess today, you guys, I'm a mess. Because it's still gonna be a little wet, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our Calypso Coral Stampin' Right marker, and there are some of these coffee mugs that have this little heart in them. I'm just gonna take this marker and I'm gonna color in the heart. Super simple, super easy, nothing crazy. And I'm just going to color in these little hearts. And you don't have to do this if you don't have your markers, or if you just don't want to do it. You don't have to. I just think it provides a little bit of interest to our background piece, and really gives it a kind of a level up, right? Of a little bit more dimension and a little bit of something extra happening on our background piece. So now all we need to do is assemble this card. Super, super simple. So I'm going to bring in my card base here, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to flip it over, take my Stampin' Seal on all four sides, and I'm going to line this up. Now, one thing, and I almost forgot. One recommendation, if you are going to be putting a piece directly onto your card base that is the exact same size as your card base, one just tip that I have is crease it first, because then you can take this piece and you can line it up just perfectly with your crease. And that way you get a really nice, crisp, clean edge when you go to fold it. It's a lot easier to line up, and it just seems to work a little bit better. So now when I fold this, my fold is right up here at the top, and I know that because I folded it before and I butted up this piece with that crease. Hopefully that makes sense. Now I'm going to take my piece of Night of Navy, and I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back of this guy, and I'm going to put it down. Now, one tip that I have, and you can see for this one, you want to put this little banner piece in the middle of 2 rows of coffee mugs. So they're not always going to be 100% spaced out the same way every single card if you'd make this card multiple times. Oh, it would be good if I positioned it the right way. But that way it kind of gives it a little bit of dimension. So if I put it here, we're basically removing that whole row of mugs that we just stamped, right? So like, what was the point of stamping it to begin with? So I put it right in the middle, like that, smush it down. Then I'm going to take my little coffee mug, I'm going to flip him over, and put some dimensionals on the back of him, just like that. And then I'm going to stick him down right there on the left-hand side of my little sentiment piece. And that is it, you guys. That is our card for today. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I love this one. It is literally one of my favorite cards that I've made in a very long time. And I love it. I think it's just so stinking cute. So as a reminder, if you need our new mini catalog, please let me know. I would love to send one out to you completely free of charge to you. I'd love to just get this little baby in your hands. So please let me know if you're interested. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!